Well, thank you, Chaplain Stonier, if we're going to go down that path. Couple things, though. We've been, with all the chaplains, as we've been growing, we're starting to see a lot more chaplains go, you all starting to come out to a lot more incidents. One of the things we really wanted to start emphasizing is the consistency of how you check into the incident command post, who's going out, and just go down a couple of those things like that. The first thing, what we really want, especially with the battalion-based chaplain, so whoever's assigned a chaplain, that's who we want to be the first one to respond. So if it's in your battalion and you're able to go ahead and go. What we don't want to have is we don't want 3, 4, 5 other chaplains all showing up to the same incident. If the chaplain that's there can't, like if it's battalion 4, say Trosper and his partner can't go, then anybody else is free to go, but we want you to communicate amongst yourselves. Communicate amongst yourselves who can go. We don't want more than 1 or 2. So it's awesome having everybody there. And Mick, you can go into in a little bit the actual like the chaplaincy part, but as far as like the responding and what to do, that's kind of what we're going to cover here. So make sure you're calling dispatch and having yourself added. We're using that for the statistics of having yourself dropped on. And that way also on the back of the vehicles, as some of our retired folks can attest, seeing when they see your unit designator start popping up on the MDC, they know that you guys are coming. The second thing, when you do get there, and I know the biggest thing right now, everybody, you know, there's a lot of different views, but we need you to be wearing your masks. That's something that's been brought back to us several times. So whether you're in the stations or on the incidents or stuff, please keep wearing your masks, because our folks, we are especially in health and safety, we're the examples, and we have to set our personal views aside for that.
We're not allowed at the stations right now, are we?
I'm gonna go over that in 2 seconds.
Okay, gotcha.
We got you guys carved out in a little approval. So when you show up on incidents, first thing you do is you check in with the incident commander and say, you know, go up, identify yourself. Hey, I'm battalion whatever's chaplain. You know, I'm here to help you assist wherever. If you need me with the personnel, civilians, whatever. That's the most important thing is, even if people are trying to grab your attention or something, you always check in with the incident commander first. That's that person, whoever the IC is, needs to know that you're there, needs to know that what your capabilities are. If you have a canine, if you don't have a canine, and typically you sit there and go up and say, hey, you know, chaplain so-and-so, and I want, you know, what you need. The families were trying to get a hold of me on the way up, or however that is, but just have that initial interaction. If they kind of, the typical response will be like, hey, we didn't ask for a chaplain. You know, chaplain wasn't dispatched. Say, we're automatically dispatching all second alarms, and if you have any problems, you can talk to Chief Baconi or myself, or me being Brent. So that's the biggest thing on the initial part.
A quick comment, Brent, just to change one piece. Don't say if you have any problems. Don't say if you have any problems. Say if you have any questions. Don't assume they necessarily have a problem with it. Just that you guys are automatically dispatched. You're here to support the personnel. If you have any questions about the policy, you can contact help, you know, Baconi or Brainerd. But yeah, don't use the word if you have a problem with it. That'll come across wrong.
Yeah, thanks.
I learned that from Mickey.
Yeah. So that's the initial check-in phase. Once you're out and you're milling around, we'll let Mickey talk about what to say, the different steps for the chaplaincy, and that specific will be on Mickey. But if you kind of find yourself after it's all kind of said and done, and you're just kind of standing around, that's a good time. Basically, that would be your cue to leave, essentially. We don't want, and just if you're starting to stand around, if the incident's winding down, that's a good time for, okay, thanks, check in with the IC, let them know you're taking off. So whenever you get there, whenever you leave, make sure you check in with them, and then you'll be good to go to take off. Anything else you want that with, Chief? With the incident specific? No? Okay. Station visits. You're able to do station visits. So the first time we got shut down, it was everything except for interventions. The only thing we had you guys still do was interventions. Now we're able able to go visit the stations. If you're able, so go ahead, start visiting your stations. These are more for the drop in, call ahead of time, get the approvals, and do, go in for the half hour, 45 minutes. Hey, how you doing? Maintain the mask, the social distancing, and all that. You're still able to do ride-alongs, not able to do ride-alongs, but still able to do station visits and the incidents and interventions. So those are the big things. So start reaching out to your stations, scheduling that. It's not intended to be a day-long thing or anything. It's just a quick get in, say hi, talk to them, let everybody know you're there, and then go ahead and take off. See, band. So I just sent everybody an invitation. We've been beta testing on the spousal peer side, and now we've done a couple of the chaplains. It's actually pretty successful. So I just sent everybody an invite. Let's have everybody start logging into that. It's a good way where we can sit there and post like, hey, our next training is going to be on this day, or if we're looking for availability for meetings like this, we'll have that app. That's a good option for taking polls, posting photos, posting PDFs or basically flyers or anything like that to kind of help keep us all communicated. So that way we're not trying to sort through 45 emails. We're not trying to keep a text message thread, or if we can kind of mute the stuff. So that way, if someone's responding to an incident, you guys can communicate amongst yourselves. So we've been really messing around with that. I know Keith, this is his favorite app in the world. So let's go ahead and have everybody download it, and we can start utilizing that. Just try to do is streamline and simplify everything. So we're not spread out between calendar invites, emails, text messages, phone calls, and all that stuff. Trying to put something at a central location. Let's see, Smart Sheet. The last thing with the Smart is we know how we hear whenever you guys are out in operations or interacting with folks, we hear how much you are out there and what you're doing. We still, and I'll be the one harping on this until the day I die, is keep doing the Smart Sheets, keep doing the Smart Sheets. If you have an interaction, a phone call, all that data and stuff, I know you guys did a huge lift during the COVID in the beginning, and now we're seeing the big uptick again. So just continue doing those Smart Sheets. All that data and stuff is really driving our program right now, so we can show the need, show everything we're doing, and we're able to demonstrate more. So when we're working for grants, when we're looking for funding from the department, we're helping, it's just as we're moving the stuff around, trying to justify everything, especially now that COVID's decimated a lot of our budgets. This provides us the ability to show how effective they are, and this is a cost-effective resource. So those are my biggest things. If you have any questions about dispatch, or if you're having issues with dispatch, start not putting you on the call, drop me a text, doesn't matter day or night, email, just let me know, and I can go and get that cleaned up and work with the dispatch supervisor on that piece. Let's see, we'll kick it over. Chief, you got anything?
Yeah, just on the band app, I know we have varying degrees of technical ability, and it's kind of hard to get some of these things set up when you're trying to get a new technology. But on the band app, it's not going to work if you don't set your notifications right. You're not going to get notified when there's an exchange or something that gets sent out. So making sure that is set correctly. And then also through the app, you can have it automatically put the calendar events on your iCalendar or your Android, but you have to set it up. It doesn't automatically go there. So you have to hook it up with your iOS for your Apple or your Android if you have the other device, and if you're using it on your iPad, etc. So it's very intuitive, and it connects to, you can send stuff through Gmail or whatever if there's a file. So it's a good way to chat back and forth and have these conversations, as he said. And then on the Smart Sheet, those of you that are doing it, thank you. We see this, I'll just be real honest, we'll see the same 3 or 4 names pretty consistently, and we appreciate that. And we know that all the rest of you are doing stuff because Mickey says you're turning stuff in for the rock. So I know that he appreciates that. So I'm not sure how we can make it easier. So if there's something we can do because it really does help. And I know it's just to support what everybody's doing. So yeah, if there's a better way to do it, let us know. But that's all with that. Thanks.
And real quick, Betsy asked about the COVID. It's no, it's medical health problem, medical and health for that type of support. So for any of the COVID calls, and then if you're seeing an increase, or if there's someone's having a need or something like that, make sure you work through the family support unit. If there's any issues with family support, or if you're running into roadblocks, always feel free to give me a call. I can help work that out. We have a couple other, between Coney, myself, Mickey, and Tori Pines, and a couple of the other resources we have in our back pocket. If some of our members are having significant issues or stuff that's kind of like the really one-off, especially now we're seeing how many of our folks are sick, how many of our people are having different issues and family members and stuff. Right now we do have a good amount of resources in our back pocket with some flexibility.
Hey, quick question on the band app. Is the department buying Chaplain Johnstone a new Jeep? We took a poll. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I just took the poll to see if he should get a new Jeep. If he wants a Jeep, he can get his own Jeep.
Oh, okay.
He would probably put his own code lights on the thing too. I'm throwing that out there.
Okay, so back to the agenda. PPE.
I have a question about the band app. Will there be will things still come through on emails, or is it just going to be on the band app?
I'll send stuff out through, most likely end up doing is I'll sit there and say like, hey, our next training is going to be September 1st. Next training, September 1st. See the band for more details. And so you go on there, and I'm going to put everything in there so it's easily dropped to your phone.
Okay.
So
some of us might require a one-on-one tutorial, but we'll get to that if that is required.
I'll find some YouTube video, and and I'm not going to just hang everybody out to dry. So we'll be working together.
Okay.
The problem that what we're finding is we have, at least for Paconi and myself, we have so many different, between chaplains, peer support, spousal peer support, all that. We have so many, we're siloed, so many things. We're working on trying to condense everything down to one platform, or basically where he and I aren't spread apart across a dozen or so different things that he and I have like just trying to make it all work. We're trying to really codify and solidify everything down to
famous last words. Oh, I'll be there for you guys. Oh, don't worry. I won't just walk away.
I'm always here for you guys. You know that.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
Yeah. Just because I'm not out there fishing with you there, buddy.
Don't be a hater.
Hey, I'm not hating. I'm jealous. I know it's a sin, but I'm jealous.
So Betsy, I'll throw it back onto you for a second though. Would it be better just to always have one place that you go to check and it notifies you if we send something out, or do we want the email backup? And when we send the email, we're able to put everybody in it. So we put the chaplains, the peers, the spouses, PD's wellness, we put everybody in there, and it's one email. So that in essence is actually easier for us. The problem is that we actually find we don't get very many responses. So I'm not sure if it's because not everybody checks their email 50 times a day like I do, which is probably what the case is, or if it sits in there, or then you get 5 or 6 threads back and forth and you don't know where it started. So I'm not sure what the answer is.
Yeah, no, I can learn to use it. I do have incident TC command that is on. It beeps, on and off during the day when I have it turned on, and I can do the band as well. But I just don't want to miss something, and so, I just, if it's going to be just on the band, I can do it. I just, I do rely on. I'm the one that does check their email all day too. So I learned that from Mickey. Mickey checks and then deletes. I don't delete, but I do check like Mickey does. But
So we'll try it out and see what's
Okay.
what's best. We might do initially both just to make sure we're covering the bases. But
Okay.
on band, we can actually see if you looked at it. So we'll be able to say, hey, Randy hasn't looked at this message yet, and reping you. So there's also ways to do surveys on there. And so there's different features that we think might work, in picking dates or that kind of stuff. So I don't know, it's a work in progress.
They do have it. They have the cool thing with band is they have this Bluetooth feature that goes to fishing boats. It was a feature I saw. I wanted to make sure we had it.
I'm all in, man. I already signed up.
Perfect. Okay, Mickey, kicking it back to you for your half of this.
Wait, you're gonna, what's the required PPE for coming on scene? Make sure.
Thank you.
Give you that.
And PPE. So when you show up on scene, brush jacket and brush helmet. Pants and some sort of steel toe boot, or basically some type of footwear. If you have gloves, because you're going to be working in and around, if you're going to help pick up some fire hose or anything like that, if you're going to be working with the personnel, then gloves I would highly recommend. So, and then also on your PPE, I sent the email out, and I know Johnstone's going around trying to catch up with everybody. If you don't have chaplain on the side of your helmet or your name on the back, you need to get a hold of me. And Randy, I still got you, so don't. I'm still working with you, so don't. I haven't forgotten about you. But that's very important because basically y'all look like chief officers. So we don't want some probie coming running up, because we have about 400 of them running around nowadays, running up to you going, "Hey, the house is about to burn down in splits," and thinks that they notified a chief officer or their division or whatever on brush fires. So the biggest thing is to have make sure you wear your brush jacket, because that has chaplain plastered all over the place. And then same thing with your wild animal. If you have any issues with your PPE, or if it doesn't say chaplain on the sides or your name on the back, I know Johnstone's supposed to be buttoning up everybody's, and Randy and I have to get together on a special item for him.
And the helmets.
One question with that, when we're out on a scene and we have that PPE, are we also wearing a mask as well? Okay.
We're coming down on our, the department's coming down basically, and if you have one of those neck gaiters, so it looks like you're wearing a mock turtleneck from Christmas Vacation, you can wear one of those. Anything, it has some sort of facial covering. You just have to have that. We're actually coming down on the personnel when they're coming off air. All the battalion chiefs, shift mayors, and ICs are coming down, making sure they're putting a mask on right as soon as they come off their SCBA mask. They're putting a regular mask on. So it's very important. We had an incident where we had a COVID positive firefighter, didn't know it, and he exposed about 25 folks, where we ended up doing some testing because that person was COVID positive, went to a structure fire, and basically it became social hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what we don't want to have is that we're at some large incident, they expose y'all to something because of you weren't wearing your mask or there was some lag. So that's the biggest thing to keep going with yourself, is make sure you wear the mask, because we don't want you guys to be collateral damage from some other knucklehead not wearing his mask.
Way to go, bobblehead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it is what it is. You guys are always going to be a little bit under the microscope from some, and that shouldn't deter you from being anything. But I mean, as Christians, I think we are, and we're anyway, and whether you're Jewish, Catholic, Christian, or Protestant, we're all under that same microscope, that we're supposed to be following the rules differently than everybody else. So, and health and safety is no different. If they see me without my mask, I'm the first one they call out, and they should, because I'm preaching that they need it. So, without beating a dead horse, unless you're doing something that completely prevents you from wearing it, like if they're, for the personnel, if they're actually fighting the fire, obviously, if they're fighting a vegetation fire, But once it's out and they're just, you know, you're handing them water, or you're helping them change the BA, or they've taken their BA off, they should see that you're in a mask. It's not your job to say, hey, dude, go put your mask on. You should just be the example, and maybe they, you know, say, hey, well, the chaplain's wearing theirs, maybe I should put mine on. You know, that would be the hope there. And the only thing I would say, you can wear any mask as long as it, they're telling the department, we have the white ones that were issued, or they said blue or black, are also applicable. So nothing with any kind of insignia or, you know, 8 symbols or anything like that. We don't want it. So probably a dark color. I have a black one that I wear that's the neck type, and they're great. But yeah, whatever is convenient for you, and I would appreciate it.
So my pink mask with the red hearts I shouldn't wear on scene?
Only when the parade is going. You can go out there.
Okay.
And
We'll stop there. I get it. No,
Yeah.
I have my blue one. Thank you. Well, let me just thank you all again, you know, for following up on the health needs, and those of you taking personnel that you're assigned to, just checking in on them. For me, what I do is my first call, I introduce myself, I ask how they're doing, their expectations, kind of build rapport. But then I do ask, you know, I'm going to be checking in on you every day, and I suggest a time, and I put it in my calendar. So for example, the person I'm working with right now was slow in getting up this morning. I could tell from their comments. And so I asked them, would 11 o'clock be an appropriate time? Copter 2 is right behind me right now, just so y'all know. Hopefully it's not a grass fire in my neighborhood. Copter 2 was by here 2 days ago too, or yesterday actually. So that was distracting. But anyway, I set a time when it would be most appropriate for me to check in. And if I sense they need more attention, I'll maybe do several check-in times and find out what the needs are. And then I work with my contact with wellness to be able to source the needs. So for example, they had the Grub Hub support for food, but we're wanting water and juice. And so I was able to work through the system to get water and juice delivered to them. So that would be very appropriate, but stick with them till they're out of the danger zone, tested negative, and, you know, are heading back to work. And it's just the added extra support. So we don't report in anything unless we're asked to, or if there's a need for the person. And we do want to respect the HIPAA. So anything shared with you about their medical condition, you want to keep that private. And if they're needing to report to management anything, that's something they'll do. We're just there to support them, assess, you know, what would be beneficial as a chaplain. They may ask you to pray for them and be appropriate. You could ask, what is their faith background and what would most support them? Well, I got all kinds of action around me, so maybe someone look on the on their app to see if my hill's burning by any chance.
I'm looking right now.
Thank you. And then also each month we get some of the wellness or people that have been on leave for whatever reason, you know, the protocols. So I'll send those out once a month as I get them. And again, just check in, how they doing. I had an individual actually was having surgery. And so I actually put on my calendar appropriately a few days after the date of surgery to see how they were doing. And I called again and they were doing fine. In fact, they kept the call short. So, you know, we're there. Now, I really want to encourage you, anything within your battalion, take advantage of those to build those relationships, to get to know the personnel. This goes with incident responses as well. When you have the freedom to go to an incident, it's in your battalion. Remember, you're not a firefighter, you're not a fire chaser. You're there to support primarily the crew. So again, let me encourage you on the protocols, but first thing, call dispatch, wear proper PPE, your helmet, your brush jacket, wear a mask. When you arrive, let the incident command know you're there. And as a battalion chaplain, you're the priority. We would love to have you there as the priority. When you leave, make sure to check out with the incident commander as well. But you're there to observe and to support as needed. And so you want to stay out of danger, stay out of harm's way, stay out of people's way as they're rushing here and there. But the more you're engaged in your battalion, the more you're going to know people. They're going to see you, face recognition. Hey, I'm praying for y'all. Stay safe. Good job. Give affirmations, stuff you observe. And, as the incident is going hot or strong, you definitely want to stay out of the way. But ask the incident command, is there anything you need support for? Anything I can assist with? They may encourage you to do certain tasks, getting water, different things like that. You may even suggest that, delivering water and some of those elements. When the incident is kind of cleaning up and winding down, you can take those opportunities to just casually go around, introduce yourself to those you don't know, give affirmations, great job. You all are just so professional. Tell them the good work they're doing and just chit chat, get to know them. But also, as within your training, you always want to acknowledge that you're there to support them and to observe. You want to observe if anyone is isolating themselves, they're maybe a little sullen, they're having a difficult time, just walk over, take some time with them. Hey, how you doing? Or if someone looks a little worn out, they're sitting on a bench or a curb with their head in their arms, just go up beside him. Hey, can I get you anything? How you doing? You look pretty exhausted. Anything I can do to support? And so a lot of it's just being behind the scenes, background, supporting, and then, of course, building those relationships. Those are key for future service as chaplains. When they feel comfortable with you, they've seen you at a number of scenes, they know you're there for them, eventually they'll open up. You can even ask when things are winding down, how's your family? How you doing? As you get to know them, how the kids, and as you know their story, is your dad out of the hospital? When you get to know them more personally, you're going to be able to really provide the chaplain support for what we're trained for, to be there for them and to be a listening ear. Again, don't try jumping in, grabbing hose and all that unless you could be invited to do so. So do it within the proper guidance and protocol and supervision. And when they're cleaning up, you can even ask, what can I do to assist? They may hand you a broom. They may give you a task to do. We're there to serve. Now, at times there'll be a civilian who's impacted. Even though we're there primarily for the SDFD personnel, there are times when the incident commanders could say, could you go and assist this family member? Could you just take care of them? Because they're freaking out and doing, they've gone through significant loss. Then be in that space, provide that support, and report back to the IC. That way they know, hey, I did check, they're okay, they've got some good support, read Cross is taking care of them, to provide that additional information. And then after anything, at the end of the shift or the next day, report any significant things of importance that fall within the reporting on the sheets report. So now, as far as station visits, these are, again, right now, it's an opportunity to get to know everybody. You need to schedule in advance, get permission, and I would keep it really brief, and I generally, when I do visits, if it's morning, I have my Starbucks, I'll bring a box of Starbucks or, things like that, what do you call it? Scones, or if it's in the afternoon, you can always bring a half gallon of ice cream, and just, they may appreciate it, may not appreciate it. When you develop the relationships ahead of time and say, hey, is it okay if I bring tri-tip for you all? You would have arranged that in advance. Of course, that's a big expense that you do in advance. But some of those things are very much appreciated. And, it's a blessing when they start to realize, wow, I love it when the chaplain visits because they eat well, or you get extra treats and things. Now, of course, budgets are limited and all of that. So whatever it is within the scope of what you can do. But when you do the station visits, just check in and let them know, hey, I'm just here for 20 minutes. Wear your mask, of course, and just want to see if everyone's okay. And then I chit chat, have you had any significant calls late? How's it been? How's the family? How you been dealing with COVID season? And just be there to support. And, the more personnel you get to know, the more you're part of them and they appreciate you. You build those relationships. The hard thing is we're not doing ride-along, so we don't have the extended stay. That's when a lot of relationships are really built. So, got any updates? Wycopter is over my house. Did you send it to me?
The open space rescue.
Oh, thanks.
Somebody's a weekend warrior on a Tuesday and decided to pass out while they're going for a hike.
Hey, Mickey, if I could just tag on to 2 points.
Yes.
One was the Red Cross and one was the station visit. So just to remind me, because I took an oxycodone and I don't know how it's going to affect me here for my pain. So just laid it out there. So you mentioned with the families. So certainly we have all our other resources through the Rock Thrift Store and Torrey Pines and some of the other things that you guys have to offer. And those are all great. Just know that the IC, their first call out when they know family needs something is Red Cross, and they should be the first go-tos before you start offering over and above. Unless Mickey directs something otherwise, I would think, let's utilize what's already in place. And then if they have extra support needs, you can remind the IC that those other options are available and see if they want you to offer it. And then with the station visits, maybe also get in the habit when you go in, you're wearing your mask. Maybe the first thing you do is use the hand sanitizer, or you go wash your hands thoroughly so they see you washing up and that you're, taking the precautions on their benefit. You don't have to physically go through and say, hey, I've done all the health checks and I'm good, but if they want you to do the health screening and the temperature check, technically it is policy that anybody comes into any station, you're supposed to get your temperature checked and make sure it's in the right range. So if they ask you to do that, then that's expected as well. But certainly wear your mask and wash your hands and show them that you're taking the precautions there. And that was it.
Good. So at this point, I'll open up if there's any questions, any special needs to our team.
I've got a couple of questions if I could. when on scene, is it okay to interact with civilians, or is that off limits unless the IC says so?
Well, our first priority is always the fire personnel.
Yep.
So make that the priority, but as you're there and you see needs, of course,
Okay.
yeah, you can interface with those individuals. We just have to be careful you want to keep them outside the perimeter, of course, and there may be needs. They may be a resident who have lost their home's the one that's impacted. Again, you can report back to the incident commander just so they know your whereabouts. Something as simply as saying, hey, Chief, one of the family members of the resident just connected with me. I'm assisting them, to connect to the Red Cross and other things. Just kind of checking in here and there that you're doing your job. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I could tell you, hey, Dan,
Yeah.
I could tell you if they have a family that has significant loss or there, and any IC, if you walk up and say, hey, there's a family over there, do you want me to go talk to the family? Is that a good thing? I guarantee every IC will be like, yes, because they need to have the family addressed, and especially with the ability to, when you just start that conversation, if they have any needs, it provides less people coming to the command post. So that's something that I know chief officer and captain, they're quickly looking to take that and have it addressed with someone. Normally like PD takes that, but a chaplain, especially one of our own, would be
Yeah. In the last couple of scenes I've been on, it seemed to have been very beneficial to both the IC and the community that we were engaging with them and stuff, and it seemed to work out really well. But I also heard some rumblings about, not serving a purpose or whatever, and so I just wanted to make sure that was okay. So, and then my second question is, how are the folks that are quarantined or isolated distributed? Because, and I don't know if Randy has any out of B3, but I don't. So can I assume that everybody and all firefighters in B3 are okay?
Yeah. Well, so what we do is everybody everybody that's assigned to a station, we assign that chaplain to them.
Okay.
So if you and Randy don't have anybody, then B3 is solid. The only time we start dispersing, like if one battalion starts getting a significant load, then the family start moving around, and then Mickey gets the cleanup for any unassigned personnel and ECS.
Okay. Cool. Answers my question.
With that, if there's any of the chaplains that are getting taxed more than others, that you reach out to your counterparts and see if there's anybody that can assist. And then, Dan, on your first question, it's absolutely it's in policy that you're there for the citizens as well. So the only piece I think that really comes down to it is that to remember that the incident commander, although taking attitudes and everything aside from this, their role and responsibility is to be in control of everything on that scene. So that includes any of the citizens, the households, all the people, accountability, who comes on the scene, who goes off the scene. If something happens, they need to know that a chaplain was at scene, so that way they can account for you if there's a building collapse.
Okay.
So it's all part of safety. I think just all joking aside, there's the one thing you definitely don't want to do is walk up to the IC with the civilian.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I get that. Having never been a firefighter, I get that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't make that mistake.
Yeah, make sure you talk to the IC first, and sometimes they'll say, "Hey, can you bring them up here so I can get more detail?" That's fine. Okay. But most of the time, they'll tell you to go talk to them over there and report.
And if the IC says one thing, that's it, right? I mean, that person is okay. Because there was another incident where a family wanted to get into their house. The IC said it was okay because I had asked, is it okay if they go into the house? He said, where do they live? And I pointed to the house. He said, yeah, cool. But then there was a captain of one of the stations that got he said, hey, you can't do that. And I was like, well, I just checked with the IC, and so.
Yeah.
So
And that would be, that's actually a typical, probie or promotional type question. You have conflicting orders. And so your IC said it's okay. Or let's say your captain said, hey, can you go see if it's okay with this? And somebody else says, hey, no, I need you to go do that. Then it's, okay, well, I just got asked to do this by the IC. Do you want me to do that first or second? It might be two chief officers, and they're asking you to do two conflicting things. More often than not, the second person is going to say, okay, let me check in or complete your first assignment and then go to the next.
Okay.
So with that captain, I would have just said, hey, I understand what you're saying. The IC already told me to do this. Is there something I misunderstood? And
Okay.
unfortunately, I'd love to say every guy and girl on our job doesn't have an attitude, but some of them do.
And I don't have any problems with the attitude. I mean, I know how to deal with that. I mean, I'm professional.
But he is the final say, and the captain would have to address that with the IC to change that.
Cool. Just making sure.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you saw the copter doing their job, doing a good job out there. So sorry to disrupt you all. That's always good to see her up and doing good stuff for the community. So
Sure. Any other questions out there?
Hey, I want to thank you all. You've been so responsive. You're on it. Just the efforts you've been doing. And if you think about this, over 2 years ago, all of this wasn't happening. Just the whole protocols that are in place, the taking care of the personnel. You can kind of get the feeling that, wow, all of us kind of came together in prep for COVID, and some of the other elements. So it's been a great service that you're all doing. I know you all have other jobs, like fishing and some of the other important things you need to do, but greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to be out of town Thursday through Monday, but I'm still live. I'll take calls. When I'm on vacation, I still will stay active unless I'm out of the country. So, but appreciate y'all. If you want to, Kevin, you got on late, but I got the last hat they had at the time. So I happened to be there when I said, hey, can I get one of those? I wanted to buy it. And they said, well, we only have one left. And well, Chaplain, you can have it. So they gave it to me as a gift. So
how long ago was that?
a couple of years ago. So
1938.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll send out this recording of this whole call for all of you, even though you've received it live. There are those that aren't with us that are on vacation and elsewhere. And I'm pretty sure Chaplain Moss has missed a few pieces when his ears went underwater in the pool. So he'll need to review all of this as well. So with that, again, you can email if you have any other needs or questions, but I just greatly appreciate you. And Chaplain Moss, make sure to wear sunscreen, or else Chaplain Strick, you're going to have little Band-Aids on your forehead. He can attest to that. So with that, God bless you all. Stay safe and healthy. I'm going to go ahead and end the call and go watch Copter 2 circle my house.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.